Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining me again on Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. A happy Democracy Day to you, my fellow Nigerians, my fellow compatriots, my fellow citizens, my fellow individuals of the country of Nigeria. I say a happy Democracy Day to you all. This is the day where we get to celebrate, a government for the people, by the people, or to the people, of the people. So good to have you. This is Deep Waters with Deborah Waters, and you're tuned in to Rhythm 93.7 FM and Silverbed TV. Yes, this is where we talk about real life stories. We talk about deep things, quality. We have quality conversations, and thankfully, the phone lines are always open for you all to join the conversation. And of course, if you want to see what you will experience the show visually, you can join in on YouTube by searching for Silverbed N24. You click on the live button to watch the show live. Today we're talking about office politics, or should I call it workplace politics, or some people call it corporate politics. I feel like, yeah, there's politics and there's politics. When you look all around you, there's the power movement, or people trying to exercise power, authority, through relationship and people. And we're asking, should we play office politics or not to play or not to play? Office politics is a reality of every big or small office. Some people indulge in it intentionally, some accidentally, some unknowingly, and some people totally remove themselves from the equation called office politics. In fact, where they hear politics, they say, I do not like politics. I do not want to hear politics. I do not want to be a part of politics. But the truth is, now, if you're saying you don't want to be a part of politics, you don't want to hear politics, but literally everything around you is literally politics, from governments to economy to your institution to educational institution. Politics, whether we like it or not, is there and is there to stay. Now the question is, should you play or should you not play? I'm asking, what will you do if people around you in the office, in your corporate space, are playing politics, and you're thinking, should I play or should I not play? What comes with playing politics? What are the negatives and the positives of playing politics in the office space? Can you sit out office politics? You have people who say, "Oh, I would rather not be a part of it," and before you know it, something happens and it doesn't happen in their favor. Let me give you a very brief example. Taking the example of a bright, young, and dynamic person called Tunde, who joins an office as a new associate, and now there will be a few other people. When you join a new company, there are a few other people who are there saying, who is this young vibrant guy looking all sharp, or who is this girl looking all fine and fresh, that now seems that he even now knows his job, or she knows her job. And before you know it, they start to have some form of envy. That let's now say that you now take your job so seriously that you always feel like you they overdo. They start to think that, who is this person that is always overdo, and it's new. Before you know, there is some form of politics going down there, or animosity and stuff. Have you experienced office politics before in your workspace? I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Please do well to calling on 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. The number to call to be a part of this conversation, office politics, is 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. How do you handle office politics in your workspace? Are you currently experiencing office politics in your workspace, in your corporate space? How are you dealing with it? Are you removing yourself from the equation, or are you finding a way to play? Have you played office politics before? Do you regret it? Have you not played office politics and saying, okay, I do not want to play office politics? Did it hurt you, or did it make a way for you? I'd love to hear your thoughts on Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. Calling on 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. Of course, always I dropped this particular topic on my WhatsApp status, and I know a lot of people had quite a number of things to say. I was like, to play or not to play office politics? What do you think about it? Somebody said, I encounter this on a daily basis. It is rampant where I work. There are people who can resort to anything to stop unimaginable levels or stoop, sorry, and stoop unimaginable levels to get into good books of the boss. And they don't go unrewarded. They are bestowed with privileges by him. They are given lesser workloads and positive reviews. And those who don't or can't do a and the person put in bracket licking are the ones who have to slog on without even so much as a word of appreciation. Sorry, life is not all fair. You have to overlook and carry on because you just cannot quit. In a situation where people who actually play office politics are the ones that get the appreciation and they get lesser workloads, wouldn't it be advisable to now play the politics? Because imagine now working, you that you are even doing more of the work, you're getting more and more work. You are not being recognized for your work. You are not even getting as little as appreciation. Upon that, everybody around you are probably hating upon you, and oh my God, I don't know if it's such a good place to be very honest. In that situation, why not just play office politics and know that you are safe and you can get appreciated for your work? I'm just asking because I usually when people say office politics or talk about politics, we want to look at politics from a very dirty perspective. Some people feel like politics is evil. Anything politics is dirty, is just not clean. It's something that you shouldn't be a part of. But politics is all around us. If the good people are saying they don't want to be a part of the politics, and the people who are not so good are being a part of the politics, what are we saying about our country at large? What are we saying about our workspace? Because before we even enter into country, let's talk about family, let's talk about workspace. Now we'll now come to our country at large. What are your thoughts on the topic of the day? Politics, office politics. Should you play or should you not play? Calling on 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. Where are my callers in the house? Is it holiday time or what? It's like we people are in the holiday spirit or what's going on here? I would have said it's salad, or maybe we're eating food. That's why we cannot call. But today is Democracy Day. I know you're relaxing and chilling, but it's also a good time to actually have quality conversation. So yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on the topic of the day. Do you have personal experiences when it comes to office politics? How deep does it run? How important is it? Is the ability to be able to play politics in your day-to-day life, is it a life skill or is it something that should be avoided at all costs? Do you ever regret playing office politics at any point? Please calling. I want to hear life experiences. Calling on 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. Let me see if I can take more comments, on the topic office politics. Somebody says, I can tell you the crux. Most of the professionals are like moles or donkeys. They do not have a say on any issue. They just do their job, honk when asked, and leave for their homes at the end of the day. Now, politics is often played by those who do not wish to work diligently and still want to get promoted or taste success. They put their foot on the staff below them and climb the stairs of growth. It happens at all levels, from the highest to the lowest. People will lie, steal, hide and do mischievous acts or backbite to accomplish their dirty plays. That's what office politics is all about. Wow. That sounds really, really scary. I imagine somebody having to step on their people's back. I mean, not literally, but ironically, just to get to where they are going. And if somebody said that, people that play office politics are most likely people that do not want to work hard. So the people that do not want to play office politics are usually people that are okay with working hard. Do you agree with that or not? I don't know. So is playing politics more like working smart then? And not playing office politics is like working hard. I want to hear your thoughts. This is much deeper than I thought. Do well to calling. The numbers are on your screen. I want to hear your thoughts on this topic. Let me see if I can take another comment. Who has power over and influence over your career? Who makes the key decisions about your future? Who influences those decisions? Is it your boss? If so, Who is in their circle of influence? Who do they turn to for advice? It is said that usually by someone who is not progressing quickly in a career. It is not what you know, it's who you know. And every day offers evidence of these thesis. Every day I hear of someone being promoted because he or she was recommended by a powerful friend or boss. Most recently, that an unqualified man or woman was promoted to a managerial position because they were lovers of the man who ran the company. Hey, wow, interesting. So this lady is clearly saying that it's not about what you know, it's not about how hard you work, it's about who you know. In other words, it's about who knows you at your workplace so that you can move to the next level. And again, she mentioned lovers. That means it's about who you are dating. I don't know if it's okay to mix business and pleasure together, but obviously, she's saying that it's about also who you are dating in the workspace, because she heard that some unqualified man, got promoted because he was dating the person that ran the company. That is also part of office politics. Interesting. I'll see if I can take one more comment, just one more before we go on that break and bring in our special guest for today. Somebody says, in every environment, there are decision makers and influencers. Your growth or stagnation and opportunities you get or don't get would depend largely on how they perceive you and how you relate and engage with them. Surprisingly, you guys are sounding like you are in for this office politics. You sound like you support office politics, but when they ask you, we always want to still shy away from it and be like, it's a dirty thing. Office, in fact, the sound of politics just makes it so dirty and scary. So I'm like, office politics, I'm not interested. But your comments are literally telling us that we all should play office politics. We should. But the question is, we've agreed that we should play office politics. So how dangerous, how beneficial can it be and how dangerous? I've heard some of your benefits so far. You say, if you do office politics or if you play office politics, it's possible that you can get promoted. It's about who you know. But what are the dangers of office politics? What about the animosity that comes with playing of politics in the workspace? What about the people that get to lose their job because of that? What about the people that the people who are not qualified who get to climb up the ladder because of this? Let's talk about the negatives and positives of office politics. I will take one more comment before we go on that break. Somebody say it will to play. I said to play or not to play. He says to play. It will help you build your alliances, ultimately advancing you to the next level. Learn how to skillfully navigate conflicts and build positive relationships. Be open with communication. Demonstrate fairness always and focus on collaboration. And don't forget to minimize negative repercussions. Okay, he was saying this after I asked him that, okay, you're asking us to play, but what about the animosity that comes with it? And he says to be open with communication and demonstrate fairness always. Focus on collaboration and don't forget to minimize negative repercussions. That means the definitely negative repercussions of office politics, which we are going to find out in today's show. We're going to find out on today's show. We're going to find out the positives, the negatives, and those people who are saying I don't want to be a part of office politics. We're going to talk about the dangers, and also maybe you get to learn how to transition from I do not want to play to let's play this game, let's roll at this point. And then at some point in this conversation, I've heard that office politics is kind of synonymous with bootlicking. I don't know if that is true. Like, the ones that do office politics, that there's a bit of bootlicking in all that. We'll explore this and more today on Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. This is our topic on today's Democracy Day Nigeria. I'll go on that break. When I get back, we'll take more conversations, more calls, and of course, I have to check this phone line because it's so weird. I have not taken any calls from you guys so far. I'll check out the phone lines, and then our special guest will be in the studio to help us dive deeper into the topic of the day. This is Deep Waters. Yes, indeed. It's a Democracy Day special. I like to say that. Let me just feel like we're part of the Democracy Day doings. It's so good to have you join me again on Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. And of course, it's 21 minutes past 5 p.m. Deep Waters is live on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And of course, from 5 to 6 p.m., we get 1 hour of talking about, issues that are very personal to us, not just individually, but societally. And we love to see you grow physically, mentally, financially, psychologically, and more. We're taking a show at a time. So far, we've been talking about office politics, and we're asking to play or not to play. Some people call it workplace politics or, corporate politics. And I've said earlier that some people, at the sound of politics, it kind of feels like it's some dirty, evil, something that is of the devil, that anything you get poor like this, I don't want to be a part of it. It's so dirty. And I don't know what has influenced that. Is it Nollywood that influenced that, thought about politics? Or is it just what we see around us? I also want to know, like, why did I also feel that way, like politics, like, it's now that I'm a bit mature. I've not grown yet, I'm still a small girl, but I'm now a bit mature. I now feel like, this politics we have to pay. But usually our default would be, I don't want to be a part of politics. I don't want to know anything. I don't want to be a part. It's such a dirty thing. I don't want to die now. I don't know. It just feels like that. But I would love to hear your thoughts. So please do also calling on 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. I have a special guest with me in the house. She's a lawyer, a certified executive coach, a published author with over 2 decades of experience in the legal profession. My guest for today has established herself as a sought-after expert in estate planning, asset protection, and succession planning. As a coach, she convenes the acclaimed Accelerate Your Career Growth webinar series, and this platform brings together coaches, experts, and thought leaders to empower professionals to reach their full potential. She hosts the popular podcast called the BSO Podcast, where she shares her insights and strategies for personal growth and career success. In addition, my guest for today is the founder of the BSO Incubator, a 12-month virtual bootcamp dedicated to helping entry-level professionals launch their careers. With her unique blend of legal expertise, coaching insight, and passion for career growth and personal development, my guest is an invaluable resource for any professional seeking to become their best selves and accelerate their career growth. Ladies and gentlemen, I have with me in the studio Bukola Seun Olorutuga, aka Coach BSO.
Yeah, serious. So am I supposed to give myself a round of applause?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, Coach BSO. BS. I don't know why. That name sounds really nice.
It is actually.
BSO for president.
I know.
What?
Interested.
BSO for politics.
Maybe sometime later.
So good to have you in the studio. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
After a long time.
Yes.
It's been a long time. Mm-hmm. It's been a long time. How did Adele sing that song, Seven? It's been a long. Or is it Adele that sang that song? Please let me know for my hand on this show. Mm-hmm. Today is Deep Waters with Deborah Waters, obviously, and finally we are here to do the show, and we'll be talking about office politics. I've tried to break it down in my own little way, but from a professional perspective, what is office politics to the layman? What is it about, and why is it that people look at it as such, politics as such a evil, devilish thing to do?
Well, I think it's the coloration people are giving it. Politics is just how we deal with ourselves, how we deal with our relationships with the other person, how we influence ourselves. So really, it's basically about relationships and building influence. The question is, how do we now do those things? How do we build those relationships? How do we create the influence? Mm-hmm. So it is the things, the activities that people get involved in to build those relationships or create the influence that gives politics, whatever coloration you give it. So if you say politics is bad, it's perhaps because the only kind of politics that you've seen played or heard about is the politics played by people that play it unethically, doing things that perhaps you wouldn't do, to build influence and create relationships. So, I mean, we're social animals, human beings. Sorry, we're not animals. So we're social beings, right? So we need one another.
Okay.
We are not islands. We have to relate with one another. So it's those things, those activities, those things that we do to relate with one another that is politics, right?
Okay.
So you have friends. You don't relate with all your friends the same way. Some of your friends have more influence on you than other, some of your friends. It's just the same way you have more influence on some of your friends than some of their friends have influence on them. So there must have been some things that you have done differently over the other friends that these people have. So that's why you can ask them for something and they'll readily give it to you without thinking. And the other person asks them for the same thing and they are quick to say no. So it's those things that we do to build influence, to create relationships, that I like to call politics. Okay. And, politics is usually shaped by the culture of the people. So how do people ordinarily relate with themselves? Like I was telling you before we started, you cannot compare the politics in Lagos with the politics in Oyo State. It's different because the culture of the people are different. And that's why when you go into an organization, if you work in a particular place, the culture is different. So the kind of politics they play there, it will be different from the politics they will play in perhaps the next organization.
And the
work.
politics that's played in a religious organization is
absolutely
also
correct.
Or do you think there's
no, it's the culture that would determine the coloration of the politics that is played. So if the culture is toxic, then the politics will be toxic. If the culture is sociable, familiar, there's camaraderie, then the politics will be like that. So it is the culture that ultimately determines the kind of politics that people play.
Do you think it's a culture? What do you mean by culture? Or is it
so
the personalities?
The culture, the way the people relate with themselves. So Yoruba people relate with themselves in a particular way. Igbo people relate with themselves in a particular way. So it's different. The kind of politics that Yoruba people play in the Southwest is different from the kind of politics that they play in the Southeast. It's different from the Northeast or the North, right? So you cannot play the same politics you play in Lagos, in Bauchi perhaps, because it's different. The culture of the people are different. The way people see their leaders, the way the people consider politics is different. So you cannot take the knowledge from one place, because that is the culture and the politics you played there, and take it somewhere else and think that that's the same politics you're going to play. So you have to understand what kind
works.
Correct. What's the culture of this place? How do they relate with themselves? In some organizations, they first name basis, right? So, and where you're coming from, you don't do that. First name basis means a lot of things. You can call somebody that is 60-year-old, 70-year-old by their first name. It changes a lot of things. It changes the way you see the person. It doesn't mean you disrespect the person, but the culture is different. So that means the culture, the politics of that environment is different from the politics of the environment where they don't call themselves by first name.
Interesting. So in other words, there's such a thing as positive or negative politics.
Oh, absolutely. There's positive politics. Positive politics is influence. You have to influence people. Leadership, lead them. Get people to use. I don't want to use the word like. Get people to like you. Get people to follow you by themselves.
So what makes one politics good and the other politics bad?
Okay, so for an organization, why do you play this politics? Why are you employed in the first place? Why do you have a job, right? You want, for some people, the money. For some people, they want to build a good career for themselves. For some people, they want to get to the top. So what is the reason? Question is, how am I going to achieve this goal that I have? I want more money. That means I have to work where they are going to pay me more money, right? So you're going to start from the bottom anyways. Everybody starts from the bottom. So you start from the bottom and you see that to get more money, you have to grow. So how do you grow? You can decide to play the goody two-shoe way.
Which
Just
is work hard.
focus
On your
focus
work,
on your
Abi.
work. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
And that deal does not even guarantee that you get there.
Do your work, be very good at it. I recommend that. It's highly recommendable that you do your work and be very good at
How do I
it.
smell sarcasm in that?
No, it's important that you're able to do your work. And it helps you understand why the politics becomes the bad, unethical, the evil, almost devilish one that you hear about. Because other people have the same objective. They want to earn more money. They want to get to the top. But hey, they just might not be as smart as you are.
Interesting.
So they might not be able to work as hard as you. They don't like to work as hard as you. They don't think they have to work as hard as you. So what do? They have to find an alternative means to get
Get
the
to where?
same objective.
Faster.
Correct. So then they begin to incorporate funny activities.
Like,
I mean, so many things. So you have different types of office politicians.
okay.
You have the gossip. The person that thrives on passing information around, whether it's true, false, that is their selling point. That is what gives them influence. People know them because they know that they always have gist. Then you have the person that is a fake friend. They pretend that they're your friend. Why? They want to get information from you. So they get from you, pass it on to the next person, and then that person passes it on to the next person, and then the person passes it on to the next person. And then you have the saboteur, right? All they do is sabotage other people's work. They can't do the work.
But that's not fair.
Hey, that's why it's politics. That's why it's they can't do the work, and the only way they can make sure that the person that does the work doesn't get ahead of them is to make sure that the work that the person does not succeed or does not work, right? And then you have the person that takes credit for work that they did not do.
Wow.
Oh yes, sure. You meet different kinds of office politician. So what kind of politician should you be? And that's the politician I say that builds influence. So your influence should be 360. You should build your influence downwards, the people that maybe your subordinates. You should build your influence across the people that you're on the same level with, that are your peers, not necessarily just within your organization, perhaps preferably in your industry, and you build your influence up. And the reason I say this is because, see, it's going to be enough to do your work at some point in your career, perhaps maybe the first 2 years.
But it was enough for you, wasn't it?
It wasn't enough at some point, and I'm coming there.
Okay, cool.
At some point in your career, it will be taken for granted that you can do the work. And that usually happens mid-management level. It is taken for granted that you can do the work.
What do you mean taken for granted? You just
I mean, you've done it for so many years, so you can do the work. At that level, you should be leading teams, you should be leading projects, right? So the influence you need at that level is not necessarily the influence across, because you already have it. It's not necessarily the influence that's at the bottom, because you already have it. You lead a team. It's the influence up, and that's why I missed it. And it cost me. But that is the point a lot of people relax. That's the point where a lot of people decide that they are not playing. They just want to do their work. And
why is the influence up so important though?
Because that's
the
where
boss
this
knows you can do the work, right?
Well, that's your direct line manager. What about all the other bosses? So it's not enough for your line manager to know that you can do the work, because your line manager is just one of the bosses.
So what do? Then you go to them and show them that you can do the work, or what?
You build influence, you build relationships, and this is where you start. So when you join an organization, you need to first of all understand what's the structure. Who is at the top? I mean, who are the people at the top? You must know it. It's important.
Wow.
You know the structure. That is the formal structure, the power structure. And then you need to understand the informal structure, because that is, in fact, the most powerful structure, the informal one. The one that is not on the organogram or the organizational chart. You have to know the people that call the shots, the power players, the people that move things around. You need to pay attention. Take some time to understand who moves what, who speaks and makes things happen. Who are the people that have power that don't flaunt it around?
But what would be the goal of knowing all of these things?
Knowing these things will help you to determine the kind of game that you're going to play. Because you have to play the game or the game will play you. That's the truth. If you don't play politics, politics will play you. And how will it play you? You will get jumped over for so many things. Not because you're not good, but because people don't know you. You don't have influence in the right places. The right people don't know you. So it's not because you're not good at what you do. I mean, you get paid your salary, but you may never get a promotion. And then somebody that maybe just came in 2 years ago will get promoted before you, and you're wondering, oh, I've been here. I'm sorry. It's just the way this thing works.
Wow.
No, I'm serious. So you cannot not play it.
So you can't sit it out?
Oh, no.
What if it works for me?
I've not seen anybody it works for. I'm serious. If you're not careful, if you don't stifle your own growth, you might even get pushed out of the organization. Oh, yes. Not because you're incompetent or anything, but I mean, there's nobody speaking for you. You think your work will speak for you? Does your work have mouth? You have to speak for yourself. You see, you have to.
My work has results.
See,
Yes.
you need to consider yourself a company. You're a company. So let's pretend that this is BSO Nigeria Limited, right? It's the way I run my brand. I am my CEO. I'm my chief marketing officer. I am my chief brand officer. I am my chief spokesperson. Right? I don't, not yet, delegate those responsibilities to anybody. So as an employee of an organization, you are first of all a business in yourself. You need to think about yourself like that, that I am a business. I am contracting out my service to this organization. So there's an exchange of value. I'm bringing value and the organization is giving value in return, correct? So how do I position this business that I am such that the business continues to generate value? You can't just be there.
Working hard.
I mean, it's like a contractor. Are you just going to say because you do good work, your client will keep coming for you? No. You have to consistently put yourself in your client's face. You have to consistently show your clients that you are the main deal.
Even in the workspace.
Oh, yes.
Interesting. This is Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. I still have with me Coach BSO in the house, executive coach, career coach, helping us understand the topic of the day, office politics or workplace politics, should I call it. Should you play or not play? I'm sure some of us are in a dilemma right now.
Please play.
And Coach BSO will help us, make a decision today. If you have thoughts and you can relate to the topic of the day, questions, please do also calling on 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. If you're watching us, the numbers are definitely on your screen, so please do well to calling. So you were saying please play.
Please play.
So what did you learn from your situation?
So from my experience, 2 experiences actually.
Wow.
The first
How long?
one,
How many years?
the first one was where I worked for almost 10 years, and I was very good at what I did.
Yeah.
And I just felt that my work should speak for me. It's now that I talk about myself and my work, coaching pushed me to do that because I understand I have to do that. As a lawyer, I didn't do that very much. I didn't take credit for a lot of things that I did, right? And there was a time when there were going to be promotions, right? And everybody thought I was going to get it because I was very good at what I did. I led my team well and all of that. I mean, it is now that I understand what happened then. Then I was angry. I felt like, I mean, why didn't I get it? I should have gotten it. But with hindsight and a lot of insight now, I was just foolish.
Wow.
I didn't play.
That's really, really deep. Let's take a
I
caller.
didn't play.
Let's take a caller. Hello. 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 Oh, can you hear me? All right, let's do a call. I really want to hear thoughts. I think I missed some of your calls earlier. Please do also call in. I really want to hear your thoughts. Office politics, to play or not to play. Calling on 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. So yes, you did not play.
I didn't
and
play.
I don't know, when you compared that to foolishness, that's
Yeah, because it was foolish. Me thinking that it was just enough that I knew my work and that my work should speak for me, and that,
but isn't that supposed to be the normal
Well, that's why
thing?
I said at some point it's not enough. You have to be socially astute. You have to deliberately and intentionally build relationships up.
And down.
So I had down and across lockdown.
But
But
that
up, it was a problem for
as
me.
you are a leader, you were leading.
I didn't lead up very well. And it cost me.
Interesting. Let's take a caller. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Hi. Good to have you on the show. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, sometimes it's very good to play office politics.
All right. Please turn off your radio so that we can hear you properly.
Right, sometimes it's good to play office politics.
Okay.
It helps you grow. As she has said, if you don't play office politics, sometimes you'll be left out with so many things.
Hello.
Yeah.
So, are you playing? Are you playing right now, or have you played before, or did they convert you to playing?
No, I haven't played office politics before, but I regretted not playing office politics.
Wow, you regretted it.
Yeah.
Wow. Why? How long did you work for, and at what point did you realize that you were messing up?
I realized I was messing up when I didn't play it because I had to get some advantages, but I wasn't able to get it because I wasn't carried on with everything that was going on in the office.
Wow. So things were happening, but you were not.
You know.
Yeah.
You were not aware because you were not playing the politics, inside out. Oh dear,
Yes.
that's really heartbreaking. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, that really hurts.
So you see, you have to be
things
present.
are flying under.
Yes, you have to be present. You don't necessarily have to participate.
But
in
keep
every-
your ears and eyes locked down.
Absolutely. You must know what is going on. You must know who is making things happen. You must know who can help you get where you want to get. So, and this is definitely not me saying you have to do the underhand things. The last time we
About
spoke,
underhand things.
you have to make sure that whatever you do, right, must be within the confines of your values and your principles.
Okay.
That is when it becomes unethical. You must have lines that you cannot cross.
Okay.
You must have things that you cannot do. But what you cannot not do is nothing. You can't do nothing.
But work hard.
You,
Because I think we forget to work hard.
Yes, working has been taken for granted because you are there to work. But the work is not enough because you are in a community of people. And
Who are also working.
Absolutely. And guess what? You spend most part of your day in that place. So you have to make the most of the time that you spend there.
Is being political intelligent an inherent trait, or
It is intelligent when you play it, but it's not inherent. You can learn it. So everybody is not politically savvy innately. Some people, yes, they are political people, right?
Yes.
They know how to do this, but you can learn it. It's like any skill. So it's like what I said. I didn't play it. And then when I got to the next place, my problem for this next place was I didn't pay attention to understand the kind of politics that was played there.
That time you were ready to play, but now you didn't know what
I
was.
didn't understand
You didn't know it was soccer or
I
basketball.
did not understand it.
You just started playing
So that's
volleyball.
why when you enter or join a new organization or a new culture, you need to pay attention, take your time. What's the structure? Then what's the informal structure? The security guard is part of,
the politics.
correct. The cleaner. Everybody in that place is part of the politics.
And you
And
cannot be oblivious.
you cannot pretend that they don't exist, because you never know what they know, especially if you met them there. So they have some historical knowledge about the place. They know something that you don't know. They already have an advantage. So you can't just breeze past them and think, oh, he's just a security person.
So how can we start playing this game?
So you have to build influence, like I said, from the bottom. Be friendly, be approachable. The greatest complaint they had about me, my face, always, always looking serious. But people that know me, they'll say, oh, Bukola has a large heart. She will love you big. But hey, my face already scared you. So you don't get to discover the large heart. So be approachable, be friendly. Be like what our former president said, belong to everybody,
but to nobody.
and to nobody. So be accessible to everyone, but not necessarily belong to a clique or a group. So that they'll say, oh, no, you don't necessarily have to do that. But just make sure you're approachable. You are friendly. People can talk to you. You are relatable, And at your level, collaborate. I tell people that the only person you should compete against is yourself. Yes, there's competition in the workplace, no doubt, but compete against yourself. You have mapped out the strategy, you have looked at the structure, you have looked at the informal structure. The next thing is you need to now determine, okay, so what kind of game do they play here? How am I going to infiltrate this place? How am I going to play within the confines of my values and my principles? How do I get those things that brought me here? What brought me here in the first place? I want to leave this place, maybe a senior manager or assistant general manager or whatever, right? Or general manager. How do I get that? Who in this organization can help me achieve that? It is by paying attention to the informal structure that you will begin to know the people that run things, the people that move things around, the people that you might volunteer to work for. They might be working on projects, they might not be in your team. You can volunteer to join their projects or their teams or anything that you're doing so that they know you. So you build, it's like social capital. You have to start building when they say, oh, this person doesn't have a political structure. You now need to build your own political structure in that organization. The people that know you, the people that can speak for you, the people that, that would support you, that support system within the organization. It is your responsibility to do that. Nobody's going to do that for you.
So in a situation where you are now the target of the office politics, or you have been, in quotes, foolish, and you're not able to craft out this space of yours, this politics, or play the politics so far, and now you are actually in between the red blue sea, the devil and the deep blue sea, and you are the target of the office politics at the moment. So what do you do to get out of it?
Well, if it has become toxic, I think you should leave. Wow. That's what I would do. If it becomes toxic and it begins to affect you emotionally, no, it can really get that bad. I think you should leave. That's what I would recommend. If it is not as bad as that, you just need to re-strategize. Take a step back. Evaluate your current situation. And evaluate the situation. So ask yourself, what can I do differently going forward? And I give you an example. When I was made a team lead, I was young. I was maybe like 5 years at the bar at the time. I was very young. And, the people that led me were very bossy. So I wanted to use the same style to lead people. And it backfired because they didn't let me do that to them. I used to shout a lot, and it still didn't get me results. So there was an appraisal, and my God, the feedback was horrible.
Wow.
So I said to myself, no. This is not who I want to be. This is not how I want to be perceived. So what am I going to do? So I bought books. I bought books on leadership.
Wow.
I read The 5 Levels of Leadership by John Maxwell. I read The 360-Degree Leader by John Maxwell. So I literally consumed John Maxwell's book at that time.
Wow.
And the problem a lot of people have is that they read, but they don't implement. We consume a lot of knowledge, but you don't implement what you learn or what you've read. So I just decided to try some of the things that John tried in the book. They were very simple, but I can tell you they were very effective. So the first thing I did was to ask my people to appraise me. So after the organizational appraisal, I asked them to appraise me. Tell me what you want me to change. That was me being extremely vulnerable.
Yes.
Because it was anonymous. You didn't have to write your name. You didn't even have to write it with a pen.
Wow.
Type it so that I would not know.
They were brutal.
Oh my God. Some people said, you shout a lot. You don't have to shout. We can hear. So the feedback, I took it. I mean, I could have taken it and become, angry. Like, how can they talk to me like that? But then I said to myself, okay, you shout a lot, so you need to pay attention to this. Oh, you are very opinionated. You need to pay attention to this. The feedback was very objective.
Yes.
Like, people were honest because I begged them that I want to do better, but you have to help me. And I took that feedback and I started implementing the things I learned from John Maxwell.
Interesting.
And it changed.
That's made you the woman that you are today.
In fact, it changed the dynamics of my team. It was like magic.
Wow.
It changed it completely. And it was the simple things that I did.
Interesting.
Like not putting the work first, putting them first. Asking about them, asking about their life, and then we talk about the work. Like celebrating their birthdays. Simple things.
It's absolutely beautiful.
So you see, I earned their influence. So they allowed me to lead them.
And that itself is politics.
Correct. So you see, I could have played the politics differently, you know.
Yes.
I could have become worse after the first feedback.
Yes.
And gone to learn how to be more vicious. Right? But I decided to do it differently.
Well, I'm so proud of you. You moved from zero office politics to 100%.
So that's why I say you have to play.
Player.
Play. Oh, please play. Just make sure you're playing it ethically. Make sure that you're playing within the confines of your principles and values.
Very important. How can people find you on social media? Sadly, we don't even
have to go?
Yes.
Oh, really? And I was asking you, what am I going to be saying for 1 hour?
Yes, so you're asking me, see you now, you're enjoying yourself.
Now I'm enjoying myself.
Yes, please.
Okay, so just tell me that I'm Coach BSO on Instagram, Bukola Shewon Lawrence again, LinkedIn. I think I'm not on Twitter. I think Twitter is a very funny place. So I don't play on Twitter.
Political place.
Yes, and I choose not to play that politics.
Okay.
So LinkedIn, I'm very active on LinkedIn. Instagram, yes. Facebook, yeah. It'll be there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And now I know why you whisper.
Why? Why do I whisper?
Thank you so much for coming on this show. My audience knows why. We all know why.
Why do I whisper?
Thank you so much for coming on.
You
this
have
show.
to tell me why I whisper.
No, you said they told you that you used to raise your voice.
Oh yes,
so
they said.
I
had to. I had to really work on that because they told me you shout a lot.
Wow. Thank you so much. Let's
I
leave now. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Welcome.
To all my listeners and viewers, I appreciate you for being a part of the show. I hope you're able to learn one or two things about office politics and whether to play or not to play. Like she said, play, but play within the confines of your ethics and your values. I'll be back again on Friday for another amazing show for you. Thank you so much for watching. For myself and Coach BSO.
Bye.
Bye.